Abel, haven't seen you in a while, and you were doing such an amazing job commentating for UFC Fight Pass. And I walk in here, and you're his trainer now, and it's like, what brought you back into boxing? It had to be. I know he's got something special going on. If he came back,
I've had him I had him since 2016. I made him champion. He came to me as I think he had maybe 19-20 fights, and we were able to work together with a guy that really likes to work. So when I retired a year and a half ago, I sold the gym, as you know, to Jaime Munguia. And for about the last 6-7 months, sometime in the middle of last year, he kept calling me and WhatsApping me and trying to reach out to me to come back. He had a fight, his mandatory in Russia, and he didn't feel like he performed at his best. He didn't feel like it was the right move for him to be training everywhere he's training, the people that he was training with. So he convinced me to come back. And when I retired, I said that there would be 2 fighters that I would return for if I had the chance. He was one of them, and another was Garcia. And he came back, so I'm here.
That's cool. Abel, I have to ask you, having faced Canelo for 24 rounds in his prime, what do you think about what's going on with him and his upcoming fight with potentially Jaime Munguia? What do you think?
I love what Canelo's done since we fought him. Okay, his resume speaks for itself, first of all. I think we beat him both times, but that's my opinion. I think that I would have liked to have seen Jaime 2 fights with Freddie. I would have loved to have seen him 2 fights with Freddie, because after 2 fights, they kind of get in the same groove. Although he looked great against Ryder, Freddie did a great job. But I would have liked to have seen 2 fights. But when the offer comes, a young man like Munguia with that many fights, everybody expects him to take a step. And I hope it gets made. I don't know if they're going to announce it yet, but I predicted that 2 weeks ago that was the most interesting fight for Canelo, if it wasn't going to be Charlo. I didn't want to see Benavidez, and I would rather see Munguia now.
Why not Benavidez? That's the fight that the fans actually want. They think that that's the toughest fight for Canelo, the best fight.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that sometimes you have to understand. You have to understand the game. You have to understand the sport, and you have to understand that Canelo runs in the driver's seat. So you don't do what David and his father are doing right now, even though they're my friends and I love them and everything, but you don't do what they're doing right now, calling the guy out and doing all that they're doing until the fight is signed. Like Canelo and I had some differences, but that's after the fight is signed. Munguia did the great thing by saying, it would be an honor to share the ring with Canelo. That way you're being humble about it. You earned the shot. Maybe you didn't earn it as much as Benavidez, but Benavidez I think is being too mouthy about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and last thing I got to ask you about Ryan Garcia. I know we spoke in the past about him. You had your criticism about him, but he's a young fighter with a lot of potential. What do you think is going on with him right now, man? If you're keeping up on his social media and all the crazy things that are
I haven't really, but I'm gonna say this. He has really done more than I thought he was going to do, to address what we talked about before. I think that he's a young man that's got a lot of followings. He's improved a little bit. Now with Derek, hopefully he improves more. Unfortunately, when they get to that level and they get that much notoriety and they get that fame, there's so many people pulling them in different directions, and it messes with you, man. There's got to be somebody there that keeps all those people away and allows him to be Ryan and be the fighter, because he's going to need to be the fighter to compete at that level. But he's really improved a lot, and I really like his chances against Devin Haney. I think he's got a power, and I think he's got more power than Devin. I think he's as quick as Devin, and he may not be the talented fighter that Devin is, but he's got a left hook that could crush Devin and could hurt Devin, like I've seen Devin hurt before.
Yeah.
So it's a good fight for both guys. If Devin is able to beat him, then he puts himself on a different level. If Ryan's able to beat him, then he really puts himself on a level.
Yeah, and just in terms of Ryan, do you stand behind those comments, just even with what's going on with him right now, and with all the stuff that he's been saying on social media? And I know the fans are kind of, they don't think the fight's even gonna get to April 20,
Well, I hope it happens, and I hope it doesn't affect his preparation. I hope none of that. But there needs to be, like I said before, there needs to be somebody in there. I always called it in my gym. I always called it the buffer. There's got to be somebody that takes all the shit. I like with my guys always being the buffer. I don't give a shit what anybody whether if they like me or not. My job is to protect my fighter, and I don't think Ryan has that right now. I think Ryan is in a position where he's being pulled in every which direction, and it's unfortunate. I hope it happens. I hope he's 100%. I know physically he'll be 100%, but I hope he's 100% mentally.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate you, Abel. Thank you. It's always a pleasure talking to you.